On June 17, 1972, Victor Charles was performing in the movie of the week in television titled Good Night, My Love, starring Richard Bone, Barbara Bain, Michael Dunn, and Victor Charles. And 6 days later, he was in an article written by Lawrence Devine about his performance in the motion picture of Wrath of God. Here are a few words that Victor Charles shared about how he felt of the strong violence in the film, saying, "It's not bad, though at films in Mitchman is crucified. Well, Robert is being crucified and I'm just not going to sit around in the background with a penknife wound. It is very gory. But our feeling toward the picture was that most of the violence is so outlandish that no one will be too worried by it. There's a scene in which an 8-year-old boy is being shot to death. I'm shocked that they left that in. Paula Pritchett, have you seen her in Playboy this month? Plays a mute. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't come off better than anybody." He was asked about the untamed violence within the film, and he said, "The Wild Bunch? Robert calls that one the mild bunch compared to ours. It's not my favorite picture, but I try to talk as honestly as possible about it." On June 4th, 1972, another article was written by Jack Meredith about the motion picture Wrath of God. And here are a few more words that Victor Charles described about the violence in Hollywood, saying, "I hope that some scenes are cut. I'm really frightened by the tendency to violence. Sex doesn't bother me unless it degrades into dirty sex. Most of it is beautiful. I took my young niece to see Romeo and Juliet as a wonderful experience, but I'm afraid the pendulum will swing to the other extreme if we continue with untrammeled violence and sex. We will have regulations forced on us if we don't impose them ourselves, and we'll end up being back in the days of Cromwell with not even our necks showing." Victor Charles was in another article on July 9th, 1972, and he shared a few of his witty thoughts, saying, "I loved that Batman part. I suggested eating a jeweled lobster in one segment. The producer even thought about it. Not bad, semi-precious though. In Batman, I thought for a bit that Comedia might be coming back. It was great. I was getting paid to do what I was taught never to do. Even in that part, I played an evil person, but I tried to play it humorously. I don't try to play against my image. Sure, I'm typecast. I don't mind being typecast as a fat man because a fat man can be anybody. I could play Hamlet, although you'd have to get a Buick to play Ophelia. I don't mind typecasting as long as I see something in the script that I will have fun doing. Acting is the only work I've ever done. I have to act. Actually, I get paid for doing what I do for nothing. The only thing is that I've never been really satisfied with any of my films. I haven't had as much fun as I would have liked. That doesn't mean I want to direct. Directors never have any fun at all. Ralph Nilsson, director of The Wrath of God, is a good director. Although we were too regimented, in this film, and I think the violence in this film overshadowed the fun I had making it. I'm about through with violence. I've killed an awful lot of people on TV, and I can't help feeling this sort of thing has an effect on people watching it. Still, my work is to entertain, not to instruct. I wouldn't recommend my new film for your daughter's first communion. Still, I'd recommend it for Robert Mitchum's performance and for your first look at Ken Hutchinson, a young English actor who is astonishingly good. Robert Aldridge is a director who makes you feel as if you were the only one who could possibly do the part. That's nice. George Stevens, for whom I worked in The Greatest Story I've Ever Told, has a refreshing streak of rottenness in me. I was Barak, the Jew, in that film. We were doing a setting shot, the camera on a boat about the lake, hordes of us on the shore. No one would have seen me if I had been holding a grand piano. The camera was turning a voice on the loudspeaker and came out over the water. Mr. Buono, you are mugging too much. Afterward, I sent a note out to the boat. Thank you for correcting me. Will you marry me? When the scene was over and we were all going back to our rooms, the voice came over the water again. Mr. Buono, I can't. Mother told me never to marry a mother. In 1972, my uncle Victor Charles was letting out his honest opinions after being in Hollywood for 12 years acting in television and motion pictures. His touring one-man shows of poetry and prose throughout America helped him to be more grounded and allowed him to discover who he truly was as a person. Everything began to come together, and clarity of what he had done since 1959 encouraged him to say, acting is the only work I've ever done. I have to act. Actually, I get paid for doing what I do for nothing. The only thing I've never been really satisfied with was my films. I haven't had as much fun as I would have liked. It is a blatant loss of opportunities for Victor Charles not being cast in classical motion pictures where he could perform as kings and popes instead of buffoons like King Tut in Big Daddy. By 1972, he hadn't a role that would bring the depth of his true inner soul of how he really saw the world. With his brilliant mind and exquisite tone of speech that carried audiences to great depths of emotions, he never was given quality productions by Hollywood because they believed they could make more money off of him by his playing their jolly and heavy gesture clowns. I knew him. I lived with him. And I know he was better for what they gave him. Victor Charles performed in the motion picture Northeast of Seoul, filmed somewhere in Asia, and his role was Portman. The executive producer was John von Neumann. There weren't any dates when it was released or if it ever opened in theaters in the United States. This particular motion picture probably fits well when Victor Charles said, "The only thing is that I've never been really satisfied with any of my films."